Hi, my name is Christian. I'm a student athlete at St. Thomas University. I'm also a fashion model and content creator.
Diversified game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, you guys, I'm like on this theme with student athletes and what is next. I have Miss Christian here, who I found through Prince, the photographer, who also has taken photos of me. And I saw this person and I said, oh, I just love the style. It's unique. The hair, or the no hair, just fresh and flowing. I had to, be inquisitive. And so Miss Christian was nice enough, non-diva for all those who are looking to book her for modeling gigs or acting gigs. Just very regular person to the point where just very nice. So Miss Christian, welcome to Diversify Game. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
That is awesome. Now, let's talk about first athletics and your style. Which one came first? Did you have the style first or the athletics and, the love of it?
It definitely was athletics in school. That was like my biggest thing growing up. Always played sports and always was on top of school. So that was like the first thing. I didn't really get into fashion until, well, I've always had a love for fashion, but in terms of modeling, that didn't happen until college.
Okay. Now, is it just something that sparked and said, wait, I have something here. Everybody wants to take photos of me? Or was it something that you worked at and said, this is something else I want to do and pursue?
A little bit of both. It's always been something in the back of my mind, but actually for me, my dream was actually in fashion design, not actually modeling everybody else's clothes. My friend was actually a photographer and he had his own business. And so I started off with that with photos with him. And then I did my first fashion show here at the university. And from there, it kind of just continued.
Awesome, awesome. Now, in track and field with the NIL deals, name, image, and likeness, for those who don't know, that means you're not listening to the show enough because you guys know I'm a sports agent and all I love talking about name, image, and likeness deals. Did the modeling, did that spark anything to say, okay, now I don't have to be under such the lights and a microscope and say, if I make it big, I don't have to explain. There used to be a headache as a student athlete if you got some extra change. So did that have any impact on your life?
So when I got into college, I was actually lucky. I kind of transitioned really smoothly into the NIL. So when I first came to the university, that was kind of when they were breaking into the whole NIL, you can make your money now. Because before it was always hush hush, like, hey, if you're a college athlete, be super careful with the deals and things like that, because you don't want it to affect your eligibility. And so for me, the transition was pretty smooth. The headache wasn't really there. I think the universities have kind of did a good job about making sure like compliance is met and things like that. And so that way, athletes can make their money.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And, a lot of people think because of the NIL that every student now is being, cashed out this big money, big cars. Instagram and TikTok are some of the biggest liars out there. Can you talk about how, it has been for you? Have there been a lot of DMs? Have people just grabbed you, on the track and field and just signed you to an endorsement deal with Puma? Like, how has it worked out for you?
I wish it was like that. I wish somebody could just pick me up and, hey, here's the deal. But honestly, I think that people kind of see the big end of NIL and not really the small end. Obviously, there are some great brand deals, the really big ones, but those often go to a lot of the larger universities and stuff like that because they have a lot more exposure. Personally, I go to an NAIA school, and so we are on the smaller end. But I do think that we're pretty good about getting the deals. But a lot of it, it's a lot of footwork. Like you have to reach out to brands, you have to apply, they have to like what you have on your page, what you have going on. So it's not just, hey, I play a sport, I can make money. Like, no, you have to actually put in the work. They have to like your quality of content and that kind of thing as well.
And I guess the other part, especially with track and field, and I have a mentor who it's the reason why we have like former Olympians on our roster, that people think track and field, either they don't know anything about it or they think everybody's going to the Olympics that you deal with or has been to the Olympics. How's your journey? Is your goal and is it realistic for you to be looking at the Olympics? Are you going to be on the next cover of Wheaties? Like, where are you at in your journey?
So right now, currently, I did finish out my last year of track and field. I do have an extra year of eligibility, but I plan to go back into my original sport. So track wasn't my original sport. In high school, throughout high school, I did Olympic weightlifting. And so I competed all throughout high school, and I competed a little bit into college, but I got the love for college sports, so I competed in track. And then now, as I've graduated, and I'm still going to go to school, I've gotten back into Olympic lifting, and for me, that is an Olympic goal. I am of Jamaican descent, so I hope to be one of the first female weightlifters to represent Jamaica in the 2028 Olympics. They actually just released an article about the fact that they are going to take a weightlifting team, so I hope to be a part of that team.
And please, that's exciting news. Explain how that works. Because, people would watch movies like Cool Runnings and say,
Mm-hmm.
what do you have to go through as a first to get in versus trying to just go in, with America and, everything is just, everybody is everything here, wait. I don't want to do that to you. I might go there next. But I was going to say, you'll have a man trying to compete with the women in Olympic weightlifting in America, and I don't think you'll have that issue in Jamaica. But how has that journey been? Do you have to petition? Do you have to raise a lot of money? What can we do to help you with that journey? Do we need to write a letter?
So currently I'm going in the process of applying to become a part of the national team. A lot of it's not even so much being a first, it's actually, making the standard. That's always the biggest thing. It's like, hey, I want to compete for my country. Do you have the standard? Because it's really cool to be able to compete and do everything, but to be able to be an Olympic athlete, you have to compete at a high level. And so right now I'm working on making sure I get those totals, getting back into competing in a regular swing, and just kind of getting the application process. So right now, to my knowledge of like what I know so far, they're building the team. So I'm hoping to, be included on that roster of athletes. So, when we start competing at international events, which they've already done really well in the past year, they've had some male and female athletes compete and represent Jamaica in some of the international events. And so now I hope to be a part of that team and then go to the Olympics as well. But I guess for me, the biggest thing would be finishing the application process, and then also like starting to go more into finding sponsors and things like that, because these international events are expensive. And so kind of finding a way that way to get my way over there as well.
Hello everyone. Come along with London and Sydney as they show you around the vibrant country of Cameroon. We explore the heart of Africa through the eyes of London and Sydney. Two explorers who journey across the great city of Yaoundé, exploring its rich culture, vibrant market squares, cultural heritage, and wildlife. With giggles and excitement, London and Sydney Explore Cameroon takes you on a fun-filled adventure, providing insight into the country's culture and traditions through the pages of this book. It's packed with exciting stories and super cool facts about Cameroon that will make you go, wow. Get your copy now, available on Amazon and in libraries near you. There's only one easy way to experience the exploration of Cameroon, and it's through London and Sydney. Don't wait, get yours.
And finding sponsors, it's not an easy thing, especially finding the right ones. I mean, there's so many songs. I'm thinking Afro beats all day. I found myself a sponsor. Like, what comes with that sometimes is things you can write movies on. But in that sponsorship, she could be wearing your brand for those of you who have clothing or something. Before they bother you in the DMs, let's stop them here. Now, what could one sponsor possibly, what would that amount be? Because there's some people out there who will try to give you like, I got $500 for you, and they think they own you. So let's just start where, one brand, if they want you to wear their shirt or their shoes, what that could look like. Where does it start?
So I guess starting with that, so I think I have to review some of the rules, obviously, with the federation, to just see kind of what the guidelines are, because I don't want to step on toes. But right now I technically am unaffiliated. I think that in outside meets where I don't represent Jamaica on a national stage, I can, wear other branding and clothing as well. But at the international stage, that's something I'd have to double check the guidelines, because I don't want to step on toes. In terms of amounts and stuff like that, I definitely would have to set like a package and things like that, because I know a lot of companies, they basically have like tiers. It's like, hey, if it's this amount, I can make sure I have a shout out post or something like that, because I can also I like creating content. So if they want like, you know, a video or anything like that, and the product is something that, you know, I feel comfortable promoting to my followers, because that's a big thing for me. I don't want to just, you know, promote everything. I definitely want to do something that's of value. And I feel like if I actually can add value to, you know, your company, because sometimes I don't have the right target demographic. And so I just, you know, trying to always make sure that there's a conversation and a partnership as well.
Oh, love the answers. Love the answers. I think she was media trained, y'all. You know, or she just has some great parenting.
Yes, I do. Some great parents.
You know, trying to represent or representing Jamaica in the Olympics and living here, there's, you know, sometimes people get it mixed up and they'll say, hey, you're Jamaican, where's your accent? And it could be from anywhere, right? Like they have this thought in their mind that if you don't talk like this, if you don't sound like this, you're not Jamaican. Even if you have a Jamaican passport, or even like my one of my green passports, they say, well, they don't know too much about Sierra Leone, so they don't know what a Sierra Leonean sounds like. But can you talk about trying to live in kind of two worlds and how that's been? Is there acceptance? Because a lot of people feel like, dang, I'm not accepted fully anywhere. So where do I belong?
So I would say that for the most part, I've been kind of fortunate not to really run into any of those kind of problems with related to like my background. A lot of times most people assume, they're like, well, where are you from? Because I'm kind of, I guess my appearance isn't one category. And so a lot of people just have questions in general. I've never really had a negative response. Honestly, most of it's just been to my physical appearance in terms of like my hair, not really my background or nationality or anything like that. So for living in, I guess, both worlds, I don't think I'd really have any problems with that. I haven't run into any, luckily, but that's pretty much it for that.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Plus, you can lift weights and, you know, track and field. They might be like, hold on, I can't run away, and I don't want to get tossed out of here, lifting those big weights. Going back to your hair, did that symbolize anything for you? Was there, you know, anything that say, you know, I just want to be free? Or were there, you know, other conditions that say, I just gonna let it go?
So I actually have alopecia areata. I was diagnosed with it, I want to say, when I was in like the second grade. So I've battled with this most of my life. Most people be like, oh, like, you know, it's just hair. But honestly, like, as a woman, a lot of our worth and femininity is attached to our appearance. And so hair is something that I quickly learned is something that is attached to like what people perceive you to be, what they think you should act like. And so I've definitely had a lot of mixed reactions as I've gotten older. I've definitely gotten way more confident. If you would have asked me years ago if I was going to model or anything like that, I would have looked at you so crazy, because it's definitely something I had to grow into. Luckily, I've had the support of my family and just certain people around me that have kind of pushed me into spaces like, hey, you need to be seen, like there's nothing about you that should be in the background. So they definitely pushed me into it, and I'm grateful.
Yeah, and you know, certain things about Black women that when I saw your hair, I didn't think alopecia. My first thought is, oh, is she
For
South
a big child.
African, or is she, yeah, or is she from Africa? And you know, some people think, oh, cancer. My mother passed of cancer, and she looked great without hair, but she was one of those who she looked great with hair as well. So. You know, and a part of that is if you look great, you just look great, right? And so it is what it is. But with the alopecia, I don't think enough of us understand uh, about that. So can you tell people, was it that your hair didn't grow or it grew in spurts? Because if not, people only know what Chris Rock and Will Smith said about Jada. And it's like, I know people with alopecia, they might have hair, but it doesn't grow to where they want it. So they wear or they don't wear what they want. Can you educate us on that? Because, you know, Black folks like to put stuff under the closet, under the rug, and not talk about it.
Yeah, so yeah, that's definitely a big thing. So growing up when I was younger, I had to go, like, I was really outspoken when I was younger. As I got older, I kind of, you know, people definitely have more to say as you got older, so I kind of, you know, quieted down. But when I was younger, I used to go in class with my little pamphlet. I'm like, hey, this is alopecia. Basically, it's an autoimmune disorder. There's different types. So there's one where it's like complete hair loss, you lose hair all over your body. There's some where you lose partial hair on your hair. There's traction alopecia, which a lot of I've seen women on Instagram and stuff. That's a lot of times that's what they're referring to. So it'll be like breakage like around the edges of their hair, the hairline and stuff like that. So that's just kind of the big thing. Luckily, to my knowledge, there isn't any other major side effects besides hair loss. And I've kind of just been fortunate to be able to educate some people when they do like are polite and they ask me like, hey, like, I love your look. Like, is there a reason for it? I always love those questions because they're super like straightforward and they're just really just trying to understand like why the look. And so that's kind of just the biggest thing with alopecia.
Okay. And have you been able to go to an African country yet?
I haven't. That is definitely on the goal. I'm in the process of getting my passports together. So hopefully, yeah, that's on the list for sure.
Okay, because again, I Sabona, South Africa. I know you guys are listening. When you go to South Africa, it's just like, oh, I mean, nobody will even think
That
that.
and I. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I cut my locks off maybe about 5, 6 months ago. And here in Palm Beach County, people, oh, I just love your transformation. And I'm like, what transformation? It's just hair.
It's this. And
I was, yeah.
mhm.
I was smarter than you with it. I'm smarter than you without it. My business is growing with it. It's growing more than yours without it. What are we talking about? So because you can go anywhere in the world and nobody else cares. America, I don't know what it is about the shallowness or being in other people's business, and you don't have a way to help. Now, you're doing the modeling. I always tell people this, so I have to say it publicly on this podcast. Modeling is like the entryway in entertainment. And I always ask people, what's next? Because it's unfair. Women can only model typically for so long, and 22 is old for some people in modeling. Black don't crack though. So you're good, right?
Mhm.
Right. Well, is modeling, a stepping stone to something else? Do you want to do acting? I know you mentioned content creation. What's the goal?
So honestly, I wouldn't say that there's any specific end goal. I think overall, my biggest thing is just kind of being able to build my platform so that I can be an advocate for others. My biggest thing is like my parents always been books first, athletics, and then everything else will come. And so I think that being able to build my personal brand and just kind of be a presence in certain spaces and just being able to advocate for others, that's like my biggest goal. So if that ends up being entertainment, it ends up being entertainment. I wouldn't say that that's like on my immediate mind, because I do plan on still going to school and things like that. So I do plan on getting another degree or two. So I wouldn't say that there's an end goal specifically with entertainment or anything. It would be something cool to branch off into, but it's definitely something that I personally would have to align to because I don't believe in just doing things just to do it. I definitely want to have to agree with it and just make sure that everything is up to like what I personally believe in.
Okay. Are both of your parents Jamaican?
My mom is Jamaican British and my dad is Jamaican. Yep.
Okay, so and I'm just trying to get, so you got two immigrant parents. They ain't trying to hear entertainment. They're gonna have to have some books behind that.
Yes.
But a lot of people are, and I don't want to say age ranges because I don't want people to dislike you because I say that. But a lot of people are like, right now, Kellen, I respect what you do, but can you tell these young people entertainment? Most people aren't going to make it. I'm like, well, they know that, but they're having the time of their life. What would you say to, you might have 5 friends and 4 of them want to be content creators. I represent content creators who make more money than some lawyers out there. Sometimes they match what the doctors make, but I can't burst anybody's bubble. Maybe you're able to give a more realistic thing and say, hey, peers, we can do this, but we need to make sure we're in our studies. I just want everyone to live their dream. And hopefully it works. If not, we have plan Bs for people. But what do you think about this right now as a person who's young, who's going after all your dreams and it's working and you don't have any children that I saw, so you can do what you want. What would you say to the other 4 people who may not make it, who are next to you and their plans for content creation, they couldn't even get on OnlyFans successfully. Um, what's your thoughts?
So honestly, I think the biggest thing for everybody is finding their niche. I think too many people are attracted to what's trending, what's popular, but people don't realize people like you for being yourself. And it took me myself to learn this for a long time. Like I didn't understand like why I was invited into certain spaces because I'm just like I necessarily may not be the same. I may not have to hold the same degrees as the person next to me, but they value your perspective. They value, what you bring to the table. And so I think that for the people next to me, I wouldn't say that they necessarily may not be successful. It just may not be the way that they originally thought it looks like. That was one thing along this journey. I had to kind of find my style. I realized I'm not the person that's like in your face, like super animated. I think that I can speak well on camera and things like that, but like I won't consider myself in certain settings to be super duper animated. Like, hey, here's this new. It's just not me. But there are other people that will be that way, and so they find success in that type of realm. So I think the biggest thing is just finding yourself. As corny as it may sound, finding yourself, branding yourself as, hey, this is me. This is how I appeal to people. And I just think that's the biggest thing because for people to say like, oh, not everybody can do it. Honestly, anybody can. I've seen all ages do it. It's not even just the younger demographic. I think that people of older ages as well. I've seen a lot of people like they have their backing. It's just knowing who you want to talk to and just seeing how you fit in.
Now, talking about fitting in, and I kind of referenced it earlier, I want to ask you as an athlete, as a woman, I've even asked women that I know are in the LGBT community, what do they think about this new trend of, men competing in women's sports? Is it fair? Should we have testosterone levels? I just can remember when my South African sister, who's a full blown woman, they said she had too much testosterone and they were ready to kick her out. But here in this country, they're allowing men to compete with women in various sports, where there are some women who can whoop some people in jiu-jitsu. I just don't know the same to be in boxing and track and field. You as an athlete are better suited to give that an answer or opinion if you have one.
Mm-hmm. I would say on that topic specifically, I wouldn't say that I have a definitive opinion. My biggest thing as a person is just trying not to judge people. I don't think that there's a lot of room for judgment, especially like for myself in certain areas. Especially, I don't like to put my word on something that I don't know the entirety of. We only know bits and pieces. We know what the media pushes. We know what we've seen or seen on social media. So I can't say that I've done enough research for me to give like a definitive answer. In terms of fairness, I don't think I really have like a definitive answer for that.
Okay. And if you don't, you know what? That's cool not to have an answer. And if you had an answer, some people say, I don't want to compete with a guy for whatever reason, right? There's a reason why we have a separation. And then you have people who say they do. I just don't know enough in the track and field because I've been smoked by some of my cousins as a child. And I'm like, I don't actually want that on the record too much. Like how'd you beat me? How are you waiting for me? I'm fast. I'm Cat Williams fast. Get me out there. I'll show you. But I just know there's some women out there, and let's not even get into basketball because I've embarrassed myself trying to play with the college ladies. I just can't shoot, Kristen. That's all. I can do everything else. I can pass. I can dribble. I just can't shoot. And if you put a 6'5" woman in front of me, I just get maybe a little distracted.
Yeah.
Okay, so the modeling, you're doing it. Is acting something that you're even looking at? And if so, in what form? Is it, YouTube acting? Is it Hollywood?
I honestly wouldn't know until it hit me in the face. I don't think that I have anything like particularly set in mind when it comes to entertainment. Like I said, my end goal has been always athletics and sports, but ultimately I know at some point these things come with camera. And so if I had the opportunity to be a part of these things, it would be great. Definitely, like I said, just like with everything else, I'd have to make sure it kind of aligned with what I believed as a person, and it's something I just felt like I was well suited for. I don't want to just be in something because, hey, you look like this, we want you here. No, I'd like to actually, be able to contribute and be a part of, the overall mission and stuff like that that they're trying to put out.
You mentioned, getting more degrees. I think I read, a psychologist that was, in the realms of psychology, that was one of your passions, whatnot. Are we thinking about med school? Is that when we say, maybe 2 more degrees?
So no, so not med school. I'm still gonna stay in the psychology route. I currently graduated with the Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. I plan to pursue my master's and actually in criminology. But ultimately my doctoral degree will be hopefully, fingers crossed, in neuropsychology.
Okay, okay. We're just curious, what job could you see yourself in? So when we see you there, we will know it's not just a movie. We're like,
Mhm.
okay, we read this, we saw this
Mhm.
interview. What job are you thinking? A law enforcement? Are you thinking, Interpol? What are you thinking?
So definitely being a neuropsychologist, the population of interest for me would probably be veterans. That's definitely an underserved population. I think that it's very important to kind of provide assistance in any way that I can. But ultimately, the biggest thing for me is like building my personal brand so that I can have the resources to help others, not just help myself because it's cool, but it's always nicer when you can share that with somebody else. And so ultimately, I hope to have my own practice and offer like free or reduced services and things like that. So that's kind of the end goal, just kind of building myself up so that when I decide to, get to where I am, I can kind of take a step back and be able to pour into others.
Oh, well, you're definitely going to pour in on the health side because they probably haven't seen a woman, deadlift um, in a skirt like
Mhm.
you have. I see that in itself, like a character, like, yeah, you
Hey,
hey,
if I'm on a I don't know, like a superhero show or something like that, that would be super dope. Definitely grew up watching a lot of stuff like that with my dad, so it would be super cool to see myself in one of those roles.
yeah, are the next casting for, a Black Panther or something like that?
Hey, I'm here.
Yeah, and but that's why, and let this be a teachable moment for the audience. You always want to prepare now. If you can dream it, please believe you can achieve it. Like Joseph, you don't have to tell everybody your dream because people, even your family, is not going to say, "Oh, that's a great idea." If anything, they might say you're crazy. But it's the
Mhm.
crazy ideas that allow you to make the most progress and sometimes the most profit. So just keep rocking. With you being a gym enthusiast, I don't want to call you a gym rat because I ain't seen a rat that looks like you. Uh, do you have any product out there or anything that you're working on that the people can say, oh, I can get her wraps or I can get her gloves or any outfits?
Nothing in particular. Honestly, the biggest thing I think for athletes is always travel and accommodation because we get our gear, it's like track, we get our gear and everything like that. We're able to train, but the biggest thing is getting into these meets, meet entry fees, registration, housing, when get over to the location. So that's just always the biggest thing. So anything for that would be super cool.
Okay, okay. And the best is yet to come for you. So, I mean, I definitely want to stay on track. Now that you have stopped track and into weightlifting, and I know you have plenty on your plate, but I just want to let the audience know because someone will hear this or watch this and say, well, does she do any coaching or training? I have a child and, she has a similar whatever appearance or interest. Do you do any coaching for any youth or old people?
So I did actually work as a sports performance coach for quite some time. With my old high school coach, he has his own program and gym. Exclusive Weightlifting is the club I live for, but his overall gym is called Exclusive Performance. So I would always direct them over there. But if they personally want advice from me, I don't mind, helping that way. But I don't think that I have anything set in stone in terms of programming. So I'm always open. Like I always love to give tips and stuff like that. But me personally, I'm still learning, and I definitely want to get to a space where I feel super duper comfortable and confident, where I'm like, yeah, hey, I got this for you. And so I'm not at that place right now. We're working towards it, but if somebody wanted to get started and like kind of get some like tips, I can definitely do that.
And I believe you've also been a cheerleader before with, at the highest of levels. Can you talk about what sports has done for your life? A lot of people, especially immigrants, they look at cheerleading and they say, why are the women cheering the men in them short dresses? Where are the women's cheerleaders with the, the men? What has all of those sports, helped you with life and just, your purpose? Because some people who don't play sports, they just don't get, why would you play sports?
So I think the biggest thing, or some of like the personality traits that you kind of pick up from being an athlete is the discipline. To be able to have to commit to waking up, all hours of the day, if you have early morning practices or stay late for late night practices, that's definitely the discipline. Another thing is definitely being a team player when you're in like a big group and a team dynamic, learning how to not just think about yourself, but work for others as well. Because sometimes I've been a part of like all types of sport. I've been a part of an individual sport. I've been a part of, a team sport. And so being able to kind of put your pride aside and be like, okay, we have to do this for more than just myself. I think that that's something that I've been able to get from sports, and just being a well-rounded person, being able to adapt. I had to juggle two schedules that were at the same time because I did track, which was I did indoor and outdoor, and I also did cheer, which is all year round. So I had to juggle both those practices, a full senior course load. I was resident assistant, and I think that my foundation in sports and being able to communicate and just handle whatever's thrown at me, because things happen all the time. And so I think that sports have just kind of prepared me for life, like just being able to deal with anything that's been thrown my way and be able to think critically, like, hey, how can we solve this problem and get it done fast? So,
and you guys know, for a Jamaican, she could have did three more things at least, all the time. Hey, come on. So it's all good. Is there a community give back that you're doing or that you would like to do in the future?
Yeah, honestly, my problem is I just feel like there's so much to do. And I think that trying to focus my efforts is something that I'm working on myself, because I just feel like there's so many avenues in which I could kind of pour into. But ultimately, the biggest things for me are in health and in our youth. Those are the two big things for me. Whether I be able to give back through athletics or just my education within itself, I think that's the two big things I'm looking at.
Are you tired of the rat race in America? Are you ready to visit the motherland to relax and rejuvenate? Are you ready to explore all that Africa has to offer? Then check out the brand new Diversified Game Academy course, Prepare for My First Trip to Africa. Are you worried about being able to afford the trip? We got you. We will show you how to travel either on a budget or as a baller. Learn how to stress the value of the USD. Did you know that 100 United States dollars is worth over 1,000 South African rand or 10,000 Kenyan shillings or 54,250 West African CFA? Are you worried about taking your kids? Get the game from Kellen Cash, a bona fide world traveler, having traveled to almost 20 countries, several of those in Africa. Get the game on taking your kids on their first trips. Learn how to find the best tickets, get the visas, and plan your own adventures in Africa. Don't let Eddie Murphy have all the fun. Plan your own coming to Africa trip starring you, produced by you, and featuring you. If you are ready for a life-changing experience, sign up for our course today, Diversified Game Academy. Get prepared and purchase at diversifiedgame.com.
You got a whole lifetime to do it. The best is yet to come. I thank you that you came on, gave us the game so people can have a better understanding what it is to be a student athlete and to play, not one sport, not two, but three sports. Keep your studies up enough to be able, I can go back to school. That's a great thing. I can do this modeling thing. I can, just have fun and taste and see. Let the people know where they can find you, and any last words.
I guess my last words would just be like, don't be afraid to do it. Some people feel like they're limited to one thing. I've always been, well, I want to do both. And so finding that balance and just being able to work things out, there's always a way to do what you want. and just finding where, you fit in and what you can contribute is the best thing that you can do, because I think that people do the world a disservice by like trying to deny like their talents and stuff like that, but just trying to be more open and, find where you fit in.
And if you don't fit in, that's okay too. You make your own lane. It's been a pleasure. I'm glad you guys have stayed to the end. Make sure that you check out the game, what we're talking about going back to Africa, whether we're talking about, children's books, whatever these ads play throughout here. I don't know how Mona sets them up, but I appreciate him. I appreciate you, Christian, for coming on. You guys, make sure, you can put your comments, you can do your likes, but most importantly, share this game with somebody. It will change their life. Y'all be blessed.
Hey, what's going on, fam? This is Jay Cameron inviting you to join us in Ethiopia next March 2025. And this is going to be an iconic trip that you don't want to miss, a trip of a lifetime. We're going to be visiting Addis Ababa, Gondor, Lalibela. You'll have a chance to taste the amazing Ethiopian food. You'll also have a chance to visit the Rastafarian community. You'll get the history, you'll get the fashion, you have an opportunity to shop. It's going to be a trip, an experience of a lifetime. So make sure you sign up to join us in Ethiopia, March 2025.